Hi guys, I hope you're all having a great time at the IOM Worlds at Datchet Water Sailing Club. We are Chipstead Radio Sailing Club and these are our marvellous facilities and our wonderful lake. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Best of luck to you all.
Hello Worlds! Hello!
Oh, come on guys.
So here we are back with E-Heat and the wind is up. I've seen a couple of boats nose diving, so there's going to be challenging conditions under the A-rig and we may see fleets starting to show one or two B-rigs, certainly putting everyone under pressure. So we have, how long have we got? Can you hear? Okay, so we're struggling to hear the time because the wind's blowing the sound away from us. So we're about 80 to 100 yards away from the start box location. I'm sure the microphone's picking up the sound, but they're all lined up. They're looking again to be at the port end. The wind is really blowing in the gust. I think we're going to see some wipeouts on the run. So getting close now.
5 seconds.
3, 2, 1, go! And there's one over. General recall as the wind blows. So while they line up for a new start, I just want to mention a few people, and I think there's a huge thank you that goes out to the organising committee, led by Phil Holliday, who has put in a huge amount of time and money in the setting up of the buoy bots. Phil has done an amazing job as the main club coordinator, and he deserves all our thanks for putting this together. And then there's Richard Jones, who's leading our scoring team and also been involved in he's really our treasurer, so involved in the finance and making sure that we have a budget that we can balance at the end of the day. There's Jim LaRoche, who looks after all our volunteers, and that's not an insignificant task, because whilst he has a big list of people, he has to work out who actually decides to turn up on the day, and then he can schedule the activities. My own role in this is all about planning and promotion, and indeed with Mark Jardine we put together a series of articles before the event over a period of 6 months, and we've achieved something like 70,000 reads of those articles. So great initial promotion, and we've been targeting yachtsmen and dinghy sailors, persuading them that there's an awful lot to be gained by starting to do radio sailing. Multiple races, close competition, really does add to your skills when you go back to a dinghy. And then finally we have Austin Gurrier, who looks after our website, and he's sort of all things technical. He's been putting the website together, he does the results, he does the updates, he posts the jury notes. There's a huge amount of work involved in that, as well as looking after the Model Yachting Association website as well. Without Austin, I'm not sure where we'd be. So having said that, here comes E-Heat up to the start. Again, there's a close group attacking the port end. And it's so critical in this weather to get a good start. Okay, a couple of boats bailed out. So critical to get a good start because the positions around the first mark almost determine the positions at the finish. A few boats at the port end really struggling to get round the mark, and another general recall. And while they reset, the other person who's put in a massive amount of work on this project is Peter Baldwin, the race officer. You cannot underestimate how much preparation there is to go in this, in putting together the notice of race, the sailing instructions, getting all the documentation ready, planning the courses, preparing course maps. There's a whole ton of work that he's been doing in the run-up to this event. It's never to be underestimated. Peter and his wife Judith have been race officers for many years, extremely professional, very cool in a crisis, and he's been doing a marvellous job this week. Also assisting Peter is Wayne Stobbs, he of CAT Components, who's been doing a huge amount of work with Peter, and in fact was involved in putting the ranking list together. He's also donated a number of CAT component products, including a starting box which will be raffled off tonight. Also assisting is Rob Weiss, who's basically keeping an eye on both Wayne and Peter to make sure that everything is as it should. So, coming up to the next start, you can see gusts coming across the reservoir now, really strong gusts. Let's hope they get away this time, because it would be really good to get a load of races in today. The forecast for tomorrow is not looking terrific. There's a high pressure over London, and when it doesn't look like at the moment we'll get very much wind. So here we go, coming up. Seconds?
20.
Oh, 20 seconds to go.
Oh, 10 now.
10 seconds. Yeah.
Much better.
Here we go, there we go. Let's hope there was that call of clear. Yep, that's a clear start. Couple of boats over the line. And I think this is going to be interesting. The boats are going to be forced about. There's the obstruction of the jetty, so the port boats coming across are going to be able to call water for the obstruction. So 97 got away nicely there. He had the advantage because there's an obstruction there. You could actually push the starboard boats over because they can't send you inside the jetty. So they all make their way out on port, and we'll start to look at the numbers to see who's who. So 97 is Feliciano Ballastin, so he looks to be our leader at the moment. 34 inside him is Jimmy Teo, and then we've got the Proteus. Get the binoculars back. The Proteus with the white bow, blue boat with the white bow. I'll just get a focus. That's 166, and that is Richard Smith from Australia. So a few boats tacking right inshore, but I think the leaders are going to come from the right hand side this time. So let's see how they get on. It is gusty and shifty, but I think it's more consistent. It's kind of more predictable. Yesterday we had shifts that were just so random. You didn't really know which way the wind was going to go. One moment you could be looking as though you were leading, and the next moment half the fleet were overtaking you. So the leaders are coming in on a nice starboard lift, and there's a huge gust coming down. This is going to be interesting to see whether they can keep the boats above the water, and the leader goes round and survives. Bearing away is always tricky if there's a gust. Now the wind's eased a bit. So Richard Smith is third. 156 was Paulo Gomez, he's second, and in the lead when I get his number. Competitors are running around the control area trying to keep up with their boats. It's an amazing sight from up here to be able to watch the racing. I hope you're getting a good view from our position in the crow's nest. So down they go to the leeward mark, and in the lead, oh, I was too late getting the number, sorry about that. Second is 156, then the Proteus. 34 is going round the left hand mark along with 05, so 34 is Jimmy Teo. And okay, we'll have to track them as we come up because I can't see the numbers from here. So the leaders are all heading inshore, straight at the downwind pontoon. Great view for the spectators. So 97 is still in the lead, Feliciano Ballastin. And I think he's safe in the top 6. I don't think we'll see any exciting place changes. 156 was Paulo Gomez. Then the Australian Proteus of Richard Smith, followed by 81. Yeah, 81 from the USA is Baron Bremer. And then behind him is 34, which is Jimmy Teo. So our top 6, I think there's quite a bit of competition for the 6th place. But hard to call the 5th and 6th place at the moment. I think the top 4 are well established. Then so what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on the leaders, but in particular we want, once the leaders are starting to round the mark, we really want to have a look at who's going to be in 5th or 6th position. Big massive left hand shift at the moment. Now it's heading back again, so that was just a little gust. Top 3 are beginning to create a nice gap. So 05 just suddenly picked up big lift. That's Marin Bizak. So he could come into a promotion position. I said it was oh, he's tacked. Yeah, there are. So that's the leader round. Then the top 3, maybe the top 4. If the 4th boat doesn't have to tack. Oh, 81's had to tack, so he's going to be, it's going to be close. So the first 2 are away and gone. Then, oh, we've got a bit of trouble going round the mark. Okay, the next 2, oh, someone's had to do a turn. Right, that was a bit messy around that mark. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So positions going for 6th place it's really going to be competitive in this fleet, and undecided probably till the very end. So 97 continues its lead. Feliciano Balestin from Spain. Second is Richard Smith from Australia. (166). I remembered a name in E-Heat. That's quite impressive. So look at the gaggle of boats now coming down, fighting. Ignore the leaders, just focus on this group here. So for the remaining 4 places, we've probably got 8 boats, maybe 9 boats who are competing for the promotion position. So this is going to be a really close finish. Nice bit of breeze coming down for the mark rounding. And getting a bit lively down there. Maybe we'll see a broach. Oh, there's a bit of a nosedive. Just about holding it. And round he goes. Right, a real battle. So most of the leaders... See one of the downwind boats trying to fight his way through the starboard tack boats beating up. So most of the leaders going to the right. Let's see how that plays out for them. Our 2 leaders are well ahead. They're guaranteed the top 2 spots, unless they do something silly. I think there seem to be 4 boats beginning to establish a position. So we've got the red boat 03 is Kurt Burlow. So he's come up. He's in a potential candidate for promotion. Then we've got 50, which is Thomas Enwell. Out in the middle, the orange this. Oh, you can hear those sails rattling. Out in the middle we have 171, which is Horve Duvanasek. So who's going to get it? Looks like we have possibly our top 6. So we're looking for the 4 behind the 2 leaders. And at the moment, that looks like 03, 50, 156 and possibly 81. But the last position is going to be between 81 and 21. So 81 USA is Baron Bremer. Here comes Baron now. And oh yep, I think he's going to do it. Yeah, Baron's rolled the boat to leeward. So is Baron going to hold it? Yeah, Baron's just got the last place. So we have 156 Paulo Gomez. We have 03, which was Kurt Burlow. We have 50, which was Thomas Emwell, and then we have 97 and 166, which were 97 was Feliciano Balestin and 166 was Richard Smith from Australia. So those were our promoted boats, and we move on to Heat D. And how many B rigs will we see, and will we hear a call for a rig change? Looking at the boats lining up, I can see 1 or 2, actually I can see quite a few B rigs. In fact, everyone I can see in the line has got a B rig on. So there might be a call for a rig change, in which case there'll be an 8-minute delay. We'll let you know in a minute.
On behalf of the Fleetwood Model Yacht Club 6-metre fleet, welcome to the IOM World Championships. Welcome!
Popped out to get coffee, and I had a look at the anemometer and the wind. I'll put a post on Facebook, but we're looking at gusts. Oh, if I get my phone to work. Just bear with me. We're looking at gusts currently up to 17 miles an hour. So the low point's been about 10, 11, 12, but we're getting, it's 13 gusting 17 at the moment, which is quite feisty for an A rig, but there is flat water. So we're coming out to the start, and it looks as though the fleet's undecided on which end to go for. They're spread all the way down the line, which is really as you would like it. And off they go. Let's see, bit of a contact in the middle, and I think that was a call of clear. So that was a clean start for Heat D. And let's see, we'll try and work out who is going to come out on top. And boats now coming up to the pontoon, and they've got to get round. So the inside boat is Josh King. I think he could have called for water there, but so 55 is Mark Gollison, who's coming off the pontoon. Looks like the boats out who ventured out into the reservoir may have got himself a clear lane, and he could have just snuck an advantage to get him in the lead. So that is 14 of Italy, and that is Paolo Petrini. But on the inside now, with a big left-hand shift, you've got 24 and 156. 24 is Jean-Pascal Morel, and 156 is Paulo Gomez. 126 is Josh King on the inside on port, tacking on to starboard. So he's thinking he wants to go a bit more inshore. So we've got two boats right on the left-hand side, and two boats right over on the right hand side. Who is going to prevail? Looks like Josh is getting headed slightly. Big gust coming down the fleet. Josh squeezing up nicely. So he's going to be troubled by some starboard tackers. Mark Gollison's tacked, and Josh has been forced about. So Josh is probably going to have to go for the right hand of the two marks. Our leaders round, and they've got a nice, first two have got a nice clear lead. 24 is Jean-Pascal Morel, and then, someone got forced all the way over to the left. Where's he gone? Here he is. 156, who took a major detour. So that's Paulo Gomez. And then there's a group of 6 inside him, made up of 09 GBR, which is Graham Elliott. 126 GBR is Josh King. Richard Smith, 166, and I think 166 had... okay, we'll... let the umpires sort that out. 63 is Ricardo Polono. So our top 6 seem to be established. The Brits have just taken themselves out of it because they got hit by a starboard boat. And there's a little gap developing between the 2 Brits and the last 4 of the promotion places. So they're going to regret that little contact. Both had to do a turn. So coming up the coming up the reservoir at a high starboard tack are our 2 leaders, and then there's the battle for the next lot. So they'll sort themselves out on this second beat, I'm sure. Now the wind is beginning to head on starboard as they come in, and the second boat's tacked onto a nice port lift. I think our leader's doing just the perfect thing, but we'll see what happens when he comes out. He's tacked right in line with a big orange mark with a hook on it, and I hope he doesn't hit it. No, he's just cleared it. So Mark Gollison seems to have put himself nicely in 3rd position. Our 2 Brits are pushing out into the middle of the reservoir in the hope they can get a jump on the group inshore. And I think Josh King, who's the blue boat 126, right out in the middle on starboard, may actually have made a gain. Oh, and he's tacked again. Ooh, not sure that was a good idea. He's just stopped. There is more breeze coming down the reservoir, a few gusts, but I've got a hunch there'll be port lifts, but we'll see. Josh King needs a good righty to get over, to get up into the promotion position. And then Graham Elliott is a starboard boat coming in between the pontoons. So Josh King is now picking up a really nice starboard lift, and he could have moved himself. I think that lift is going to get bigger, and he's looking better and better and better. That's a really good move by Josh. And Graham Elliott, who's come all the way into the left, is also looking good. So having taken themselves out on the run on this beat, they seem to have got back into it. Graham's going to have to navigate some starboard boats, but there's a big port lift coming for him. Should be getting it now. There he goes. So now our 2 Brits are back in it. The leader is round, flying downwind. He's got to navigate his way through the fleet. That's 24, which is Jean-Pascal Morel. So he's a dead cert for going up, unless he has contact with any of these boats. Second, '56. Can't see the numbers on the second boat, but Mark Gollison is 3rd. 71 is Gary Bowl. So he's come up, Gary Bowl. Then there's Josh King. Then there's Graham Elliott. So those are our top 6 at the moment. We saw some big shifts on the previous beat, so I think that nothing is guaranteed at the present time. So the competitors march downwind across. Some of them are running downwind on the control area. Our leader had a little broach and he's just going around the leeward mark. Josh King is working his way through. I think the front six are establishing a nice gap now. I suspect, looks like the two Brits are going for the right hand mark, or one's going for the right hand mark. That's Josh King. Graham Elliott is going for the right hand mark as well. So no change in the top six at the moment. Probably Graham Elliott's the one most under threat from the boats behind. The ones going downwind are challenged a bit. There's some big gusts, but they all negotiate their way round. So Graham Elliott coming in to the shoreline, he's just tacked, and he's actually going to be quite close to Mark Gollison. So 1, 2, 3. So our leaders, so in this group now, where's Josh King? Josh King is safe. Graham Elliott tacks across to cover, and he's actually put Mark Gollison about 55. So there's a real battle between them, and I think Graham's going to have to give Mark Gollison room to go round the pontoon, and yes, he does. So they are 4th and 5th at the moment, coming up to the finish. Oh, 71 has got hooked on the end of the pontoon. That's a little embarrassing. I think he's caught the chain, and it looks like he's picked up, I think he's picked up some weed or a rope or something. He's really struggling. No, he seems to be moving okay now. So our leader is about to finish, 24. So that was John Pascal Morel. There goes the whistle. Second is going to be 156, which is Paulo Gomez. And third and fourth, remarkably, is Josh King and possibly Graham Elliott. Graham's just got Mark Gollison, but he's safely moving up to the next heat, and they'll be relieved about that. So Graham's just got to get across the line and not do anything silly with Mark Gollison, and there he goes now. So those are the promoted boats, the final one being the red boat just crossing the line now, which is 03, and 03 is Kurt Burlow. So they'll be going up, and that's it now. We'll be back for Heat C, race 15. Okay, welcome back. We're on 15C and the breeze is up, so We know our promoted boats from the previous race, and we'll see how they get on. I think everybody is still on A rig, but I've got there's one B rig in the fleet at the moment, maybe two B rigs, so we'll see how they get on. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think it's still A rig. I think there are enough lulls. Nobody's really nosediving and losing control downstairs. So they're underway, and it's general recall. Yeah, so the fleet are just coming up, just testing the wind. So we'll have at least 3 Brits in this. We've got 75, 126 and 08. So the B rig is the B rig is 116, which is Francisco Martinez, and then where are the other B rigs? So I can see him. 87 has got a B rig. That's Torsten Fidel Brandt, and they're the only two. I think they might regret their decision, because on the run the A rig just gives you so much more power. So if you look at the anemometer, it's between 13 and 17 miles an hour at its peak. 17 is the most we've seen, so it's very borderline for B rig. So I think we're into a new cycle. The fleet are just moving around, getting into position. There are some boats that are a long way from the start line out in the reservoir. Is that timer on? Yeah. So the timer is on. Yeah, they're a long way away. 1 minute 30, I think it said. The great thing about being in the control tower with 1 minute to go is we have a nice shady office to commentate from. Leah on camera is basking in the sunshine, enjoying the heat, and I'm doing everything I can to stay out of the sun. So we're lining up for the start, and the windward end seems to be favoured. That's the left-hand end where we're looking. So starting near the buoy bot on the outer end of the line. Buoy bots provided by Red Ant and K7 Yachts under the guise of Phil Holiday. So one boat bottled out. 1 gun. Away they go. And it's another general recall. How many of those have we had this morning? Maybe we should have had a counter on that. So we wait for another 2 minutes. So so we've had 2 hours, and we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 2 hours and we're into our 5th heat. So on that sort of rate, we should do at least another 2 races today. We'll complete race 15, we'll complete race 16, and we may get into race 17. And it's really important to pack in the races today because we're not sure if there's going to be any sailing tomorrow given the high pressure. Yeah, 1 minute to go to the start. Sorry about that, just passing a message on to the media team. Good solid breeze now on the start. Sails getting thrashed as they flap as the boats try and remain stationary. There are a couple of boats right down to leeward. I'm not quite sure what they're doing. I think they might be out practicing. And they're off. No, I think the start must have been abandoned. Yep, lots of boats waiting. This is definitely B-rig weather now.
I think that was an abandoned.
Yeah. So boats coming up. See, the A-rigs are really struggling in this gust. This is the first really big gust I think that we've had today. And you can see 87, the B-rig boat and the little 116 are really enjoying this this breeze. So just wondering what's happening. Maybe they're resetting the line, or I can't see the buoy bot moving, so I don't think they are. And I can't believe there's been a call for a rig change. Yeah, so boats starting to make their way back to the start line. Okay, the clock is on again. Another 2 minutes. So perhaps while this is going on, I'll give a shout out to our international jury, who's led by Elliot Levy from Venezuela. And then we have Chris Watts from GBR, Gordon Davis from Ireland, John Roundtree from New Zealand, Ilya Barre from Finland, Jeff Byerley from New Zealand, and Robert Owens from Great Britain. Now, the thing about umpired racing is only the umpires can call penalties. As was pointed out to me yesterday, the race team have no authority to call a penalty. If they want to take some action, they have to protest the boat. It has to be a race committee protest against the boat. So just want to say a big thank you to the international jury who are doing a sterling job this week. It's really tough because quite often they're looking at one situation and the contact might occur somewhere else, and if they're not looking at it, they're not able to call it. And they have to be absolutely certain there was contact, and they have to know who was in the right and wrong so they can call the penalty. So if you hit someone and you don't do a turn and the umpire spots it and judges you to be in the wrong, you have to do 2 full turns, which pretty much takes you out of the heat. So coming up to the start again. Let's hope they get away on time. Boats at the port end are struggling a bit to make the line. Here they go. And it looks like it's a clear start with one boat called over. And he's having to go round behind all these starboard tackers. So not the best start for him. So boats coming in shore, little B rig on the two B rigs on the on this side of the course. Josh King looking in a good position. The green boat 116 just sneaks out and may just cross. Nope, he's had to tack. Josh King tacks and bounces along, and he's going to call for water or mark room at the obstruction. But it really is a B rig race at the moment. 87 looking very comfortable. Let's see if the breeze stays up. If the breeze stays up, the B rigs are going to be happy. If the breeze eases, they're going to be struggling downwind. So we have 26 on the inside and 126. 26 is Diego Luye, we haven't seen him for a while, and 126 is Josh King, and then 03 is Kurt Burlow from Malta. A couple of promoted boats from the previous race. Graham Elliott, there are some more Brits in here. There's Graham Elliott, there's Tony Edwards in 75, and Josh King, who's nearly out in front, just going to be forced to tack by a couple of starboard boats. No, he's cleared them. That's good for Josh. So Josh tacks for the windward mark, but the port tack boats inside him just tacked underneath him. That's going to make life a bit tricky for Josh, especially as there's a header, so he tacks away. Smart move. Then he's got to tack back for a starboard boat. So boats to the left are getting a little bit of a lefty shift, but they're going to have to negotiate the starboard boats coming in. Lots of action here. Josh King around first, then the green boat 76 from Australia, which is Glenn Dawson from Australia. Outside him is 113 Elio Cavello. And then inside the green boat is 26, which is Diego Luye. So there's no real gap between the first 6 and the rest of the fleet. There's one B rig up there, but he's really going to struggle downwind. I think the wind has eased and it's becoming an A rig race. So sometimes it's worth the risk. Josh, you could hear the dulcet tones of Dave Lindsay there, having had a contact with 24. Dave Lindsay's in 23. Josh King is leading the fleet to the right hand mark with second place in 76. Glenn Dawson from Australia in second. Looks like okay. Elio Capello is going out left. Tony Edwards is going out to the left. 156 is Paulo Gomez. He's following them. So who's going to do well out of the lefties and the righties? It's a bit like politics, this. Left versus right. Left is actually looking very good. They're on a really nice lift. Josh King his only option is to come right into the bank, but yep, he's got a nice header. But I think the boats on the right have gained. We'll see how they cross. Josh has got a nice lift. Yeah, he's going to be clear ahead. 76 just crossing the starboard boat. So Tony Edwards comes around the buoy, he's in 75, the green boat, heading towards the pontoon, and he'll have to tack for the pontoon shortly. Doesn't want to get hooked up on it. And he's come around on quite a nice lift. So we've got a mix of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 boats vying for the promotion positions, maybe 8. Big left hand shift at the moment. So good to see Josh back in form. One of the UK's top sailors. Elio Capello in second. Tony Edwards in 75, the green boat possibly in third, with 76 just to windward. 76 is Glenn Dawson. So those are probably our leading 4 boats. So you've got Josh, you've got Elio, you've got Glenn Dawson, you've got Tony Edwards in 75, and the breeze is blowing up a little bit. So Tony Edwards may have moved up to third. Here he goes, tacking for the mark, and they've tacked quite high. So those are our top 4. Glenn Dawson rounding now. Tony Edwards going round now. Oh! Had to avoid a starboard boat, and then he did a nosedive, and now he's got to avoid another starboard boat. Can be so costly, keeping out of people's way. I know in Australia I suffered, I was heading to the left-hand gate at the top end of A-rig, and a boat went round the mark on port and just sailed straight into me. There's Tony having a bit of a nosedive out there. Josh King just sailing serenely down, opening a gap. Glenn Dawson following. Not sure what design Glenn's got. Probably a V. Yeah, it's got to be a V12 of some sort, V11, V12. Then Elio Capello, I think he's in a venti, looking at the curve of the deck. Tony Edwards is sailing his R2V2, which was designed by his son James. Then we have 149, he's close to broaching, that's Peter Tan. And behind him, 106 with it is Alex Scapens. Okay, so now they start the beat up. The majority of the fleet have gone round the right gate. 3 of them have gone to the left gate, including Tony Edwards. Now the left side benefited from a big lift before. I'm not sure if they're getting the same lift. Having said that, Tony's quite close to 76, which was Glenn Dawson from Australia. He's got 3 boats coming off the shore on port. One assumes he's going to tack to cover, or maybe not. There's a real awkward wave pattern, because when you're sailing on starboard, you're actually sailing across the wave, and when you tack onto port, you're beating straight into the waves coming down from the middle of the reservoir. Now Tony's in a spot of trouble, 75, because the boats that went out into the middle have gained significantly, so there'll be a real fight, real tight battle for the minor places, minor promotional places. Tony's crossed everybody, but he's on the opposite tack. So Josh King sails serenely on. He's going to be our winner. Glenn Dawson, Australia 76, is going to be second. And if all works out, Tony Edwards is going to be third in his R2V2. He's 75. However, there are boats inside him, and we all know what the shifts are like at Datchet. Very hard to cover people because you've got boats to the left of you, boats to the right of you. So the 2 port tack boats have... oh, Tony's got a lift. This is going to be close. So first and second, Glenn Dawson and Josh King. Third is 149. Fourth is going to be the yellow boat. Tony Edwards is in 5th. The green boat on the far side is 6th. So there are promoted boats. So the green boat was 26, which was Diego Luye. So they all go up, and they'll go up to B heat, and we'll join you in B heat in a few minutes. So here we are, race 15, heat B. Let's see who we've got. Anyone unusual in here? We've got Craig Richards. He'll want to get a good start. We've got Guglielmo Beltri and Carlos's brother to leeward on the most right hand side from where we're looking. Then in the middle we've got been doing this for too long, Olivier Cohen. I should know him. Then we've got Paolo Cappa, and who else? Tony Edwards, who got promoted. And right at the windward end, oh, general recall, that's not unusual. Right at the windward end we had Tony Edwards doing his classic windward end start. And then 26 from Argentina was there. Do you want to do it?
Yeah. Poor Craig Richards seems to have an IOM magnet in his boat. He's been involved in a lot of incidents so far this event, which has made life quite interesting for him, and he's been up and down the fleets because of it, or up and down the heats I should say. There's a lot of general recalls today. It seems everybody is really fighting for those points and pushing the line as hard as possible. I think Peter, the race officer, is being very lenient with not using the flags, but the great thing about model yachting is you only have this 2-minute countdown, so a general recall doesn't eat too much time into the day. When you have 5 or 6, it does begin to eat into it.
Thank you, Mark. And if anyone can hear me flagging, don't be surprised. This is every day we're on duty from 9:30 to 6:30 in the day, constantly talking about the heats. So quite a challenge.
I have to say, the rest of the media team, we are all in awe of what Nigel has done so far. Being able to speak about all of the boats for so long. It's fine doing the little short videos when you're doing the start and the finish. I can just about handle that. But Nigel is up doing this commentary for about 8 hours, 9 hours, which is a quite incredible feat. And so it's not a surprise every so often when the numbers and the names all start to get a little bit jumbled, because it is an incredible feat.
So coming up to the start at the port end, we've got Carlos Beltry, Josh King, third one up. Oh, Carlos Beltry nearly hit the mark, and then he nearly hit the boat to windward of him. Carlos has gone back. Josh King therefore is the most port end boat with a bit of an advantage. Inside him we have, quite hard to see the numbers at the moment until they come up to us, but the whole fleet coming in on port into the pontoon. And this gets really tricky because the boats, when they tack, can call for room for an obstruction. And now Josh King on the inside is perfectly entitled to call for room on the obstruction, but I think he left his tack a bit late. He could have tacked earlier to go round the pontoon. He doesn't want to get hooked up on the end, and he's cleared the end of the pontoon, and now what he needs is a good lift, and that will take him up. Out in the middle there's a red boat, 02, that's Craig Richards. Just outside him is 38 rather, which I think is Patricio Montero. Somebody doing a turn there, that's 76 from Argentina. I think that's sorry, that's Glenn Dawson from Australia. He won't be happy about that. Brian Shaw's is in this heat, 117. We'll see how he comes out. So Craig is looking good in 02. Then we've got 40, which is Tonko Puljets and Patricio Montero. And as I look, the boats out to windward are getting big starboard lifts. So the boats tacking out on port, getting a bit of a header. Now they're getting lifted. So it's quite tricky. You think one moment you're going to clear everybody, and then the wind shifts a few degrees and you don't. So crossing out to windward on starboard is Josh King again. So he's going to go for the right hand mark, and he's going to be our race leader by some margin. So here goes Josh around the mark. Well done to him. Big gusts coming down the lake, so it could be an interesting run. Patricio Montero comes round second, and at the other end we've got Brian Shaws, so he made a good recovery there. Craig Richards, 142 from Croatia, is, looking at the crib sheet, is Sven Ferenc. So off they go on the run. Josh King with a nice lead. The top 6 are definitely not established. There's a whole bunch. One nosedive in the middle, 2 nosedives, that being Craig Richards. Josh King in his pop, not a Brit pop, it's a slightly narrower version of the Brit pop, is just sailing away. We know Brad's designs are superb downwind, so you know, he won't be worried by the gusts, which I hope isn't a commentator's curse. But no, there he goes, just flying downwind. to the leeward mark. Yeah, look at him go. Oh, and he broaches. But that was more a fun. Oh, now he's gone the other way. No, Josh is in trouble. Sorry, Brad, I spoke too soon about your design. He's having all sorts of problems. And now he bails out and goes for the left-hand mark. Everybody in trouble. Spectacular sailing. This would be great on video. I'd love to see it afterwards.
You really did curse him.
Yeah. So that was the commentator's curse. That's my first of first of the event. So Josh is going out on a big header and tacks onto starboard. So provided the wind holds and there's another gust coming down for him, hopefully that will see him in a comfortable position at the start of the second beat. I don't think I'll talk about him anymore because I've obviously put the dampener on him. So inshore we have 121 Carlos Beltry, 40 I think is Tonko Puljits. Then we have 149 from the Netherlands, which was Peter Tan. Josh King coming in on starboard, and I think he's just going to clear Tonko. Josh is going to hate me when he sees this video. But there we go. Right, Paolo Cappa rather, in 130 has come up into the mix. Olivier Cohen struggling to tack. He's also in the mix, but he's struggling to accelerate in this nasty chop. On port, you're going straight into the waves, and it makes life really difficult. So Carlos Beltry is nosing out in the middle. Josh King is nicely established on port at the windward end. We'll see if Carlos is getting headed, Josh is getting lifted. Carlos is tacking across, but on previous beats, the left-hand side on this course, at the top of the course, is proving to be the best. So Josh is working his way out with the sort of the third, fourth and fifth boats. There's a group coming inshore, including Olivier Cohen, hoping for a big lefty. And Josh King has tacked furthest out to starboard, just ahead of a line of 3 boats. And he's looking, well, I'm not going to talk about Josh. So we'll see what order they go round the mark in. So Josh King first, but he's got to navigate a couple of starboard boats coming in, and then he's having to do a big circle to go round the boats, but he's got a nice clear gap between him and second, which after the leeward mark is a really good recovery. Second is Brian Shaw's of the USA. Third is Carlos Beltry. Fourth is Tonko Puljits. Fifth is Paolo Cappa. And then we've got Luning Chen out to windward in her viz. And 11 from Switzerland, which is Matteo Longhi. Just behind them is Olivier Cohen, and just outside Olivier is Darren Ballington. So that's the group at the moment fighting for promotional places. So they're rolling down the run, and it's a bit calmer than the last one. So it'll be interesting to see who's in the demotion slots working from the back. 26 is Diego Luye. And then the bright orange boat, can't see the number at the moment. Can't see any of their numbers. Okay, we've got 75 of Tony. Is that 75 or 76? 76 from Australia, 142 from Croatia, 67 from France, and 08 from France. And surprise, surprise, right at the back is Craig Richards. So we'll see some movement in the top 10 positions, I suspect. In fact, I'm just going to look and get the latest results, which I forgot to pull up. So just bear with me while I look at, I'll pull up the results. IOM World's results. So, view full screen. So those that are going to be impacted by this, Craig Richards was in 8th place. Brian Shaw's, who's vying for promotion, will be in, that will help his campaign. Josh King was 24th, so that'll give him a better result. Darren Ballington was 25th. Olivier Cohen is 10th, so he definitely needs a top 6 finish. Luning Cheng in 12th, just squeezing past some starboard tack boats there. So yeah, the top 6 places are going to be really hard fought for. Hard to call at this stage. I think we'll give a shout when they get near the finish line. I think all we can say is we have a leader who is covering the fleet. Second looks secure, which is Brian Shaw. So he's reaching into the finishing line and no one's threatening him. Then there's a real battle for the next 4 places. So I think Carlos Beltry is in 121. Olivier Cohen squeezing in at the port end. Paolo Kappa, Darren Ballington and Tonko Puljets. I think there are promoted boats as a big gust comes down through the finishing line. So well sailed by Josh King. And I'll have to learn not to make any comments about him in future. So that's it. So then we're on to race A to conclude race 15, and it's 10 past 12. So fingers crossed we'll get this out of the way. Then race 16, if we can, we should get race 16 and race 17 completed, as long as we don't get too many general recalls. So back in a minute. Okay, here we go. This is Heat A. These are the top dogs, and we've got a good breeze. It's not as strong as it has been, but not bad. We have a full field. The only one missing from the top 10 is Craig Richards, who had a bit of a disaster in that race. Brian Shaw's is back in. Olivier Cohen's up there. Everybody else was in the A heat. So looks like, oh, it looks like Zonko got stuck in irons. He's done a turn, and the fleet have started. Zonko completes his turn. Lucky for him, it's a general recall. So we watch and reset the timer. It looks like boats to windward have actually done quite nicely. And I can see a couple of B rigs. Peter Feldman, not surprising, in the Viz has gone B rig. Just get the binoculars and see who else there is. 13, that's Paulo Wolper, has gone B. And the other one, yeah, that's Peter Feldman's gone B. And Ante has gone down to a B rig. 64 and 17. I think they're both US boats. 64 is Barbatza and 17 is Steve Landau. So this is going to be interesting. Is it a B rig day? According to the previous race, it wasn't. Zonko's still got his A rig up. So here we go again. Boats lining up. Seems to be the windward end seems to be favoured. Zonko's moved down to, I think it's Zonko at the leeward end. Yeah, Zonko is one off the leeward end. Guglielmo Beltri. In fact, Zonko's in a Beltri sandwich. And there they go. I heard one whistle. I think that's a general it's a general recall. Okay, so the clock resets. And while the countdown carries on, it would be good to mention some of our race team on the finish, which is a real dedicated job. There is no rest all the way through. And that's Judith Baldwin, Sharon Plested, Jen Hand and Min Edwards. And they cycle through the finishing, so they do get a break during the day. Then in the boats we have Paul Kimmons, Martin Clark and Hugh McAdoo, who do a fantastic job. They're on duty all day, sitting in the sun, ready to move marks at a moment's notice. Sometimes they're a little redundant because we have the buoy bots and the race officer can use those to adjust the start line. And then we have Tracy Ballington and then Derek Priestley, who are supporting the rest of the team. Of course, there are many other volunteers that we have here, and somebody did say to me, why have you got so many volunteers? But this is a big site, we do have safety concerns, and the more people we can get, the better, because we can give them a break and give them a chance to watch this racing. So at the leeward end of the line we have Zonko going for the pin end. Darren Ballington has bailed out and is going across the middle. He's going to be late. The fleet look as though they're lining up, getting ready to start. Zonko's hanging back. Can't see, there is a flag flying. There is a flag, if you're over the line you're disqualified. So you don't really want to be. There's a big bunch of boats at the port end, and here they go. And I think it's Zonko who's got away at the very port end going into a big header, so he might have an opportunity to tack across the fleet. He's certainly going to be calling water. He's clear to tack now, so if he keeps in this lift he'll be in a very nice position. 22, that's Martin Roberts, right on the inside. Oh, there's General Recall. Yeah. Yeah, so yet another start. So I might give another shout out to one of our sponsors, and in particular that's CATSAILS and CAT Components. So Wayne Stobbs, who runs CAT Components, he is the assistant race officer, and I know has been working really hard on this project. They provide a whole range of 3D components and metal components for IOM boats and others. And Nigel Brown of CATSAILS not only provided a service to make any alterations required to sails, but he's also involved all week as a volunteer, doing a fantastic job. So big shout out to those two. Right, on the start, looks like Zonko's going for the port end again. But I think this time he's a little low of the mark, and yes, he's bailing out. And he's got to slide in and find a gap. Oh, and he's just had a collision, so he's got to do a turn. He's in real trouble now. He's got to hope for general recall. Well, there's got to be a protest between those two, because looks like it's a good start. The B rig of Ante is in a good position. Zonko, I think it was Zonko involved in that contact. Might have been another boat. No, I think Zonko was clean because he was right at the port end. So he's got a starboard boat coming in. He's going to have to tack. So guess who's clearing everybody on port? It's our race leader, Alexis Carre. And inshore of him is Brian Shaw. He's nearly the most. Robert, 33. Robert Matulja is on the inside. Pete Stollery is sneaking up the left-hand side. Zonko's doing a turn. Not sure who he hit there. Brian Shaw, the whistle's blown for somebody who was involved in an infringement. So right out in the middle is Ante. Then there's Alexis Carre. So Alexis is flying. He's going to clear Ante, and if the wind holds for him, we'll see how he comes in. Okay, he's got a little bit of a header, but oh yeah, and again, little puff coming for him, but it's a heading breeze. Nobody inside is threatening him. He's now getting a bit of a lift, and that might take him to the left-hand mark, the right-hand mark rather, but likely, yeah, he's doing a quick tack, so he's going for the right-hand mark, and he's going to be nicely round in the lead. Now, we'll not make any comments about Alexis. bearing in mind what happened with Josh King. So second round is Ante with his B rig. Third is Pete Stollery, I think. Let's make doubly sure. Yeah, that's Pete Stollery, the orange boat. Followed by 44 with the B rig, which is Peter Feldman. Zonko just passing, and outside him Brian Shaw's. Inside the 64, the Australian boat, bar bats up. So those are the leading positions at the moment, and as we look further back, we've got what looks like Romain Dubray, and then Paolo Cappa. I think that's 90 Norway, which is Odd Stray. Then 33 Croatia, Robert. Getting my words mixed up. 33 is Robert Matulja. Going further back, we've got Olivier Cohen, then we've got Martin Roberts. The B rig, 13 is Paolo Wolper. Then we've got Rob Walsh in the yellow boat. Third, 25. So some of the top players are a little bit down, but we have our race leader and overall leader, Alexis Carre, in the lead yet again, followed by Zonko, and I think that's Zonko, just do a double check. No, sorry, it's number 10, that's Jan Springer. Zonko is, where is Zonko? Zonko is in the middle. Zonko is about, well, hard to tell where he is. We'll wait until their fleet start crossing. No point guessing at this stage. But our leader is covering the rest of the fleet. Just had a header, just tacked. Hoping he's going to pick up a lift. Not really getting it, so I think he'll be tacking back in a minute to go with the fleet. Yeah, there he goes. He shows great acceleration out of the tack. Got a really efficient rig, just seems to accelerate in the breeze. Top end of the rig just blades off, and he gets power from the bottom half of the mainsail. Really nice setup, very reminiscent of the BG sails on the Britpop. So over on this side, Pete Stollery tacks up. We have Brian Shaw, we have Barbatza right in shore, and then we have Zonko trying to recover to close the gap on Alexis Carre. With this, with the positions as they stand, Alexis is going to increase his gap to Zonko, but you know Datchet, anything can happen. So Alexis comes into the mark and he gets headed as he comes in, so he tacks straight into another header and then tacks back, and then a big gust coming down for his mark rounding to send him on his way. Second is Ante on the B rig. Oh, but poor Alexis trying to navigate his way through there. It's really tricky. So Ante second, that's Zonko coming through. No, sorry, that's Jan Springer in third. Brian Shaw to windward, and Pete Stollery, I think, is in third or fourth. It's between Pete and Jan Springer. Ante is just dropping back because of the lack of power of the B rig. So our top six: Alexis Carre, Pete Stollery in the orange boat. Just to windward of him is Ante in 30, and then we've got Jan Springer on the inside in the green boat. Jan Springer was number 10. Then we've got Brian Shaw in the sort of bluey boat further out behind Ante. He's probably going to roll Ante by the leeward mark. Then Olivier Cohen's moved up, just fighting for the last promotional place. So he's 100 in the blue boat. Paolo Cappa on the right hand side from Italy. And then Romain Dubray just outside Josh King. So it's going to be a real scrap for the top 10 positions. Alexis Carre round the mark and setting off on port. One broach in the gust. Oh, and another one. Chaos coming down to the leeward mark as a gust causes the fleet a little difficulty. Oh, and there's a big contact there between and a connection. Who was that? That was between Ante and, no, it wasn't Ante, it was, I think it's Martin Roberts and Robert Matulja have contacted. Okay, Alexis Carre tacks for the pontoon, closely followed by Jan Springer. And then Pete Stollery is looks like he's in third or fourth place as he navigates round one of the permanent marks at Datchet. So he's threatened on the outside by Brian Shaw. So Pete's coming out now, and I think Brian's going to cross ahead of him. Pete's going to have to duck him. Goes under the rig. Ante is still up in 5th. I think Paolo Cappa's in 6th at the moment, and Zonko's hoping for a bit of fortune on the left hand side. Tacks now. He needs a good lift to recover some places if he wants single figures. Now there's a big separation between Alexis Carre and Jan Springer. If there's a big lift, Jan Springer could take the win. So here we go. Alexis has tacked up. We got to focus on the leaders there. No, I think Alexis has got a nice lift. Jan Springer's tacked. So there's our race winner. Well done, Alexis. Yet another win. I think that's 5 wins he's had in this competition. Jan Springer second. Brian Shaw third. Pete Stollery fourth. Ante with the B rig 5th. Paolo Cappa 6. Then Peter Feldman, Rob Walsh, Zonko, Olivier Cohen, Robert Dubois 77. 83. Oh, 83, 121. Carlos Beltri really pushing his luck on the finishing line. Darren Ballington, a little B rig on a green boat, can't tell. And then Josh King. So the final 6 will be demoted. Josh King will be back in B, along probably with Darren and others. So yet again, Alexis Carre has done the business. So that will increase his gap to Zonko. Brilliant job, brilliant job. And that's it. So that's race 15 concluded. And now we move on to race 16, and we're back to Heat E.